How did Vin Diesel get dragged into this mess with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? The question I'm getting the most in my DMs and in my mentions is, Ashley, is this a PR move? And if it is, what kind of PR move is this? We're going to break it down in this video today. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ashley Brianna Eve, and I have over 15 years of experience in branding, marketing, as well as reputation management. So that looks at narrative control and SEO over on Google. And I love to bring you behind the headlines of trending pop culture stories using my expertise. I also work full-time with a full client load on this very work. So if you're ever looking for someone to support you with your personal brand, make sure to check out ashleybriannaeve.com. And I love to chat with you about the services that I can offer to help you get you paid for what you're best at. Now, with that said, let's dive in. We're going to look first at LZ, a friend of the channel and a friend of mine who I absolutely adore because I have been so busy. I am wildly behind on what's going on. All right, shout out to LZ for keeping us all in the loop. Let's see what she has to say, and then we'll talk about, is this a PR strategy? Because remember, something we've spoken about in the past is Blake and Justin both have two horses in this race. They have legal and they have PR. And so is this being used as a legal move? Is this being used as a PR move? Is it being used for both? We're going to discuss that. But let's first get caught up in what the hell is happening.
Diesel? Now you want to depose Vin Diesel? How did Vin Diesel get in this conversation at all? Blake Lively and her entire team are truly a special group of people. Vin Diesel got 4 claims dismissed against him based on SA, right? Not SH, SA, because an assistant he had back in the day sued him. She said he had pinned her on the wall while he did a little self-diddle and made her watch. And the incident happened in 2010. He also went on to file a retaliation claim, a wrongful termination claim, an SB claim, negligent supervision, and retention and infliction of emotional distress, right?
So I have to say, first of all, I had no idea about this.
Right? Not the garden variety kind. But the long and short of this is Vin Diesel had Brian Friedman as a lawyer, Justin Baldoni's lawyer. Blake Lively and her team have now submitted evidence from Vin Diesel's case into evidence in their case. It's a mess right now, and I don't understand how this is possible. The lawyers here let me know. First of all, it's a completely different case, and there were some sanctions filed against him in the other case, so they're trying to use it in this case. I don't completely understand what I'm reading. So I say all this to say I do not care not one damn about Vin Diesel and that case. I don't know nothing about it. I'm not defending this man. I don't know nothing about it. All I know this man to be is Dominic Toretto. What he did as Vin Diesel, if he got to pay for that, that's his karma. Just because he has the same lawyer as Justin Baldoni doesn't mean shit to me. It's like saying a surgeon has done multiple successful surgeries. He's a surgeon. Brian Friedman is a defense attorney. He's supposed to clear his clients. However he does that, that's not my business. The vibes are clearly giving grasping at straws here. And very weird. It's giving weird.
Yeah, this came out of left field, honestly. But the first thing I thought of when I heard her bring in Vin Diesel's name, and then briefly looked at his past and connection to Brian Friedman, the first thing that came up for me was how she leveraged in PR the fact that Justin Baldoni had hired Johnny Depp's PR crisis team who smeared Amber Heard to smear her. So it very much felt this. And this is something her side never misses an opportunity to bring up or talk about or to leverage in hit pieces. And from the very beginning, look at this. August 13th, 2024, Hollywood Reporter, Justin Baldoni hires PR crisis manager amid It Ends With Us battle. So they're talking about Melissa Nathan. And when they bring it, oh, here it is right here, Barstool Sports. Justin Baldoni hired Johnny Depp's crisis PR manager. Baldoni hired Melissa Nathan, a PR crisis manager who previously represented Johnny Depp during his trial versus Amber Heard. So what it really feels like, and what I've been talking about for some time, we talked about this on this channel as well. I was the first one to say the reason that Blake Lively went after Candace Owens, Andy Signor, and Perez Hilton is they are more controversial individuals. As an extension of that, some people they may have wanted to subpoena might be out of the country, and it is very difficult, nearly impossible to force someone that's out of the country and not even an American citizen to be upheld or to be forced to be involved in this case. It has to go through a very specific process. And I can nearly guarantee based on the country someone's in, it's just not going to happen. So they may not have been able to subpoena some people that they really wanted to subpoena in the case, but I'm telling you, they hit Candace, Andy, and Perez, big platforms, but more than anything else, they can try in PR to leverage that against Justin. Look, he's hired Johnny Depp's team right from the get-go. Scumbag hires Johnny Depp's team, and it's the same people that smeared Amber Heard and made it so that she had to run away to Spain. She can't even live in the country anymore. It's the same people. Not only that, look at these figures that are supporting him, that his team are working with. Now, I love all of those individuals. That is not me speaking, saying that they are controversial. I'm saying that her team can twist it and leverage it to fit their narrative, which is misogyny, slop ecosystem, which is Me Too and pushing back against Me Too. And look at how problematic everyone on Justin's side is. And here he is talking about being man enough and listening to women. Yet look at all these people that support him. Look at the misogyny slop ecosystem. This is all little bricks and pebbles they've put in place along the way to fit a PR narrative. Absolutely. And we could see this happen back when all of the headlines, like you couldn't pull up a story. And sometimes it's still hard to pull up a story without seeing Johnny Depp's name added into the PR spin. Now, the interesting thing, if I pull up Blake Lively, Vin Diesel, I'm not seeing anything really from legacy media on the front page. I'm seeing content creators' content on the first page. I do wonder a bit if instead of her team hitting the ground running with going hard and flooding the narrative with I need to do my nails. I haven't had time to get the chip to polish off my nails, guys. That is real life sometimes. I have multiple businesses, full client load, run a farm animal sanctuary, have a new rescue puppy we just adopted with trauma and separation anxiety. So, there's reality for you. And I washed my hair in the sink this morning because, it was on the go. Let it dry as I took the dogs for a walk. Okay, so part of me does wonder, and I had asked myself, and I'm going to have to see how this plays out. So I'm not claiming this is 100% what's going on, but I do want to see how this plays out because they could have, and we've seen Blake's team from a PR perspective hit the narrative, even with the subpoenas towards Candace, Andy, and Perez, hit TMZ, hit legacy media before it ever hits the docket, before anyone ever gets a hold of it on Court Listener. So they have a history of doing that, but it doesn't look like they've done that. Now, if I look up, I'll check Blake's name as well. I haven't had a chance to check her name today, but if I look up Blake Lively, Vin Diesel, the only thing that's trending are content creators. Perez, Elsie's trending. And so a piece of me did wonder, Shirsty's trending as well. A piece of me did wonder, is she kind of using content creators in her own roundabout way to get a message out right now? It would actually be quite smart. It would actually be really smart. Kind of like a Trojan horse. Plant the seed and let the content creators go wild with it, which is very similar to what Brian Freeman, you could argue, or what her side argued he did, is put the letter up talking about Taylor Swift, and media went crazy with it. The content creators went crazy with it. It was a feeding frenzy. And I do wonder if there's an aspect of dropping Vin Diesel's name, but not going straight to the press with it, that could be allowing content creators to pick it up. But let's look at her name. So under Blake's name herself, Blake Lively hires stylist ahead of deposition date, says source. Blake Lively to be deposed. Blake Lively can't keep this Betty Buzz flavor in stock at home. And that is an affiliate link. I checked it out yesterday. It's an affiliate link. What else? Blake Lively put in the hot seat. Blake Lively's deposition date revealed. Ryan Reynolds banned from Blake Lively deposition. Blake Lively will face questions from Justin Baldoni legal team. Like, there is nothing here that's screaming to me that Blake Lively's team is leveraging the Vin Diesel thing and exhibits. Is it exhibits she put in, or evidence? Exhibits, I think. The exhibits as PR right now. Unless, like I said, are they catching on? Are they learning the ropes of how to work with content creators and get something out with content creators without running straight to legacy media. I wouldn't be overly shocked at all. It's savvier than flooding through legacy media. Now, here's where things get interesting. And I still think it is a PR and a legal move. This is my thought from the legal perspective. I genuinely don't think Blake Lively wants to be deposed by Brian. I don't think it has anything to do with Brian Freeman having represented Vin Diesel. I don't think it has anything to do with what we're going to see here, which is a headline from June 27th, 2025. Vin Diesel's attorney allegedly threatened to punch who was the other lawyer or something during a deposition. They would have known this. It's not like, oh, now all of a sudden we've found this out. So for my perspective and what it feels like is she really, for some reason, does not want to be deposed by Brian Freeman. And so they are bringing this up as a way to hopefully get Brian Freeman taken off the deposition for Blake Lively. And again, whether her team actually starts flooding and bringing this out, I don't know. I'm not in their brains. But I think right now, what they're doing in regards to allowing content creators to pick it up, content creators are constantly reading the docket. They're constantly reading all the documents. They knew that Vin Diesel would be a hot topic that people would be talking about. Look, I'm talking about it. I've had so many DMs asking me about it and asking my opinion and what I thought the PR strategy was. They knew. It almost feels like they knew they didn't have to do much for this to start going viral. But again, does it mean they won't do anything? Not necessarily. But her team has always proven that they have no shame in going to the media first before something hits the docket or as something does. I mean, look at New York Times Inside a Hollywood Smear campaign. You don't have to look further than that. Vin Diesel attorney ready to fight in the street and the courtroom. Sources call BS. The celebrity lawyer who is representing Vin in an SA lawsuit filed against him by a former assistant on the Fast Five set is being called out in documents filed to compel Diesel's deposition. According to the documents, the plaintiff, Asta Johansson, attorney Matthew Hale, was set to depose a third-party witness on June 23rd, but before it began, he met with one of Diesel's other attorneys, Sean Hardy, to discuss why Diesel couldn't make it to his own deposition on June 24th and 25th. During this conversation, Hale claims Freeman came into the room and refused to explain why Diesel couldn't do the depo on the dates previously agreed upon, while allegedly calling Hale a moron and cursing at him. I feel like lawyers have said worse to each other than call each other morons, but while Hale insists he tried to de-escalate the situation, he says Freeman got up from his chair and rushed towards him before calling him a kitty cat. Hale then claims Freeman swung a fist at his face, stopping before he hit him, a gesture that seems to be an attempt at intimidation. It didn't go any further than that, according to Hale and Johansson's attorneys. I apologize if I'm spelling or pronouncing your name wrong. Johansson's attorneys are asking the court to compel Diesel's deposition and impose monetary sanctions. As you may know, Freeman has made waves in recent months defending Justin Baldoni from his lawsuit Blake Lively filed against him, alleging SH. He told us just earlier this month that Blake's on a false victory tour after a judge tossed the defamation tossed the defamation claims in his suit. A source close to Freeman tells TMZ this claim is total BS, because actually Hale was the aggressor in the situation, claiming he leaned forward towards Brian and started screaming at him when he found out Vin wouldn't be at the deposition. That makes a lot of sense. Brian walks in and is like, no, he's not going to be here. And the other lawyer freaks out. That makes more sense to me. Our sources claim Brian never cursed or raised a fist at Hale, adding the allegations are totally false. Besides, our sources tell us if he'd done anything he's accused of, then Hale would have taken out a restraining order, which is also true. That makes sense. So I've been getting the question a lot. Do I think this is Blake Lively's team that leaked this? No, I genuinely don't think so. If anything, I would argue this is just pop culture coverage, to be honest. It doesn't really scream one side or the other. If anything, when you go through this article, they are defending Brian in it, but not defending Brian from a place that it feels as though Brian fed them that information. It looks like they spoke to someone, maybe Brian himself, and said, this is what he's claiming. This is what that side's claiming. And, if Brian really had attacked him, Hale would have taken out a restraining order. So to me, this feels more like generic pop culture coverage, to be honest. So again, guys, I'm really not seeing anything to support that Blake Lively's team is currently flooding the narrative with this, that she's pushing this story, that she's trying to, almost smear Vin Diesel and drag him into it in PR in the traditional sense. It's really just content creators picking this up and going wild with it right now. Because no matter where I look, unless I specifically bring up Vin Diesel news or Vin Diesel lawsuit or Brian Freeman, Vin Diesel, I'm not seeing it anywhere. Look at this is Justin Baldoni's news on Google. It's all about the deposition, which I think was pushed back anyway. And it's not even going to be happening on the date that they said it would. But that's my thought on this, my friends. From a PR perspective, I believe absolutely Blake has a lot of opportunity here to leverage this. And again, it's going to be positioning this. Justin's not actually who he claims to be. What would be intelligent on her team side is essentially you're putting the puzzle pieces together of he's built this brand, this Man Enough brand that is about listening to women and supporting women. But look who he surrounds himself with. Vin Diesel's lawyer. Look at this problematic guy. Like he's throwing punches at people in depositions. And now you want a victim? Now you want Blake Lively to sit across from this man that attacked another man at a deposition? Are you out of your minds? And Justin supports this? Justin Man Enough? Justin supports this? The further abuse of women, right? Like that's the narrative they're going to take with this. And then it all wraps up beautifully with basically, we told you so from day one, because look at who he hired for PR. The same guy that basically drove Amber Heard out of the country and destroyed her life. I just find it really interesting that they have not yet gone to legacy media with this news. I find it very interesting. It's not to say they won't. And they may wait. I'm just thinking in real time on this. They may wait to see what the judge does. And if the judge says, no, sorry, like you can't legally choose who you are deposed by, which I think he's already said that. But if they stay firm, the judge stays firm on that, she may then go to the news. They may start a PR campaign around it of, look, a victim is being forced to be deposed by a man that attacked another lawyer. She doesn't feel safe. And if they're trying to really like delay, that might be a smart move. And the sad thing within all of this is you have real people behind this. I mean, Justin's life, based on the evidence that we have so far, he's been able to refute everything she said so far. The fact that she needs to, or I like to say more, Ryan Reynolds needs to see all of the video and audio from the film before she's willing to sit for a deposition. To me, that screams someone that doesn't really know what actually happened. And she needs to craft a story and make sure that his team can't be like, oh, so you said that scene, but here's the video and audio, which is exactly what they did to her with the dance scene. And then she had to refine and change what she said in actual legal documents. If you follow it, she changed what she said. So it would be a PR nightmare for his team, Justin Baldoni's team, again, to be able to come out and say, once again, she claimed this happened in this part of the movie, and they were shooting this in, the restaurant, but we have the audio and video to prove that's a bunch of bullshit. So the fact that Justin has been the one that's come out with all of this evidence all along to refute what she says, and now she's pushing so hard that she needs all of this evidence before she'll sit for a deposition, to me just makes it seem like she's trying to craft a story. And until there is a smoking gun or her side starts producing evidence that Justin is the creep that she's claimed he is, that he is the predator that her and Ryan have claimed he is, so far I've seen nothing to support that. But I'm waiting, Blake. I'm waiting for you to produce something that actually supports what you have claimed all along, because a lot of people, myself included, supported you in the beginning. And it was the evidence that contradicted your words that turned us to believe Justin. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I think right now she's in a fight for her life to avoid being caught in more lies. And if she can leverage this as a way to either delay more, I was just taking a moment as well and thinking, it's not that Justin only has one effective lawyer on his team. But for some reason, she is, and she could say, you know, people accuse me of being afraid of Brian. Well, no kidding, wouldn't you be? And she can flip the narrative and use kind of content creators' own words against them as well. You've been claiming for months that I'm afraid of Brian Freeman, and that's why I won't sit for a deposition with him. Well, look what happened. It's this misogyny slop ecosystem. It has to be the woman's fault. You all are out here smearing my name saying I'm afraid of Brian. Look at what happened. And I'm just a woman. And that's how he treats other professionals within his field. And again, I'm not saying that as Ashley, Brianna, Eve. I'm saying that as the potential for her PR team to use that and leverage it. And then it also really uses content creators' words against them in many ways, because so many content creators, myself included, have been like, what are you afraid of sitting with Brian Freeman? And now she's going to go, what was I afraid of? This is what I was afraid of. He's crazy. He's dangerous. But as of right now, there is no PR push through legacy media. I think they're doing the legal thing. I would imagine they're holding it in their back pocket right now, letting content creators run with it and get that story out, because I never knew about this. How many people out of left field were like, holy shit, I didn't realize this about Vin Diesel. I didn't realize this about Brian Freeman apparently got in a brawl with another lawyer at a deposition. So I think my assumption would be they are holding this in their back pocket for right now, letting the content creators run with it and kind of seeing where things work out, where the chips land. But I wouldn't be shocked if in like a day or two, what's today? Thursday. I've always said she's a tricky one to pin down, because typically, historically with PR, it was called a Friday news dump. And you typically put something that you didn't want people to notice on a Friday. You're like, Zeke, slip it in so no one notices. Why? Well, it's the weekend, right? Like traditional media, when you're looking at people that you're getting a paper in the mail, or maybe watching, like, I don't know, I had a dial tone TV when I was a kid. That kind of traditional media, or even like dial-up internet. Do you hear like the in your head? You old enough to know that? Traditional media, if you dropped something on a Friday, it kind of went under the radar. No one knew about it. It was all hush hush. See, StreamYard agrees with me. But it's not so anymore. And social media has really changed the game. And we've talked about this previously, where there's the potential for that, especially in the summer. People are excited. They're going to the cottage. They're celebrating, etc. Potentially based on where they are. I'm thinking of everyone in Texas. Oh my goodness. I'm not in the US, but following what's going on in Texas, and it's just horrific. Traditionally, most areas, you're going to the cottage, you're excited, it's the weekend, you're off work, you're not really paying attention. However, the trap that can happen dropping news on a Friday, if her team was to start pushing something on a Friday, is if it's something she wants to go viral, it could be the only thing blowing up over the weekend. So then content creators are carrying it, but you tend to not really get the same reach for legacy media. What traditionally has happened, what research is showing in the last couple of years is happening, is content creators will pick it up over the weekend, and then legacy media will pick it up on Monday. So it actually extends the cycle. Whereas before, you kind of be like, controversy at a corporation or whatever, just kind of like put out your statement on a Friday, no one hears about it, and just go on life as usual. But research is showing content creators pick it up, carry it over the weekend. Legacy media carries it on Monday, which extends the news cycle from essentially a Friday into a Tuesday. And I've said previously, she's a hard one to pin down. I've seen Ryan Reynolds put some stuff out on a Friday that he doesn't want noticed, and it doesn't go noticed. It's barely picked up. I can't pin her down. I'm not going to say whether they're going to drop something over the weekend, because I can't pin her down. I'm not sure. But I don't think they're going to completely leave this story. They're going to strategically use this story. All right, my friends, let me know what you think in the comments. And if you are looking for support within your brand, I am not taking on PR clients at this time. I just don't have the capacity to take on more clients at that high level. However, I am taking on branding and marketing clients. I have brand reboot sessions where it's 2 sessions. They're both 2 hours each. And we work together on specific areas of your brand that need to be refined to help you get paid for what you're best at and stand out within your niche. I enjoy creating category of one brands. So that may be for you. I also have consulting options for existing brands. And if you are either newer and you're looking to really start getting momentum and traction and applying strategy into your brand, hand some of that stuff off, that might be for you. It could also be for you if you're in a pivot and you're moving in a new direction in your brand and you're looking for support within that pivot. So again, you don't have to do the thinking. A professional does it for you. Check out ashleybriannaeve.com for those options. And with that, my friends, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.